What's up, YouTube?
What a do?
Son of a biscuit. We're trying to get started here.
Okay. I have like a little torn paper here as my bookmark. That's how
Jamie's back there.
I am.
Etiana and Adina.
We're here.
Ready
Let's
to go?
do this.
You sound so excited.
We just had dinner, so we're a little full.
Like, let's
Let's go.
Yeah. Come on.
Ready?
I'm born ready.
Okay.
Let's go. Episode 69.
Oh my gosh, I just hit record and you're freaking talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying, you're like, what was this?
Alright, here we go.
Because he probably likes a darker gray.
Like
That's
black,
blue.
charcoal.
Yeah, that's blue.
That's light gray.
It's a good one.
Jamie's shirt is light gray.
Just saying, the lighter shirt you go, the less colorings you have.
So we go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Made for More Consulting Podcast, episode 69 with Adina, Etiana, and Jamie. Welcome back, guys.
Glad to be here. Wrapping
Hello.
up, weeding on empty. Ready
Yes.
to go.
We are here. If this is your first time listening, it's a podcast here to build leadership and personal development so that we can lead others well and we can learn ourselves. Because if we cannot lead ourselves, then we cannot lead other people,
True statement.
in my opinion.
True statement.
So, last episode, Leading on Empty. I do not have my book in front of me, so I just realized that.
I borrowed my
No,
yellow
that's
book.
good. You're good.
Where you should go?
You need it?
If this is your first time, it's okay. We're good. I don't have anything I'm reading, I don't think, out of the book. If this is your first time listening, you can go back and listen to what episode, Dina?
65.
65. And hey, I do have to tell people, if this is your first time listening again, I had a client, I cannot tell you guys who. He will remain anonymous, but he listened to the Leading on Empty, and I was telling my wife that he said that he was depressed after listening to the first
Oh my
episode.
gosh.
He
He's
said-
like, I didn't know I was depressed, but now I'm depressed.
Yeah, he said, man, he goes, I listened to it in the morning. He goes, I was pissed off all day. He goes, I realized I was depressed. He goes, maybe I'm depressed. But the reason I'm saying this is because
That's
stick
funny.
with the podcast. It's just part of the book. He's going through his journey of being depressed and anxious, and we're learning from it. So it was a depressing podcast, I
Well,
guess.
point out too,
So-
if this is your first time listening, yes, go back and listen to episode 69, but go back and listen to the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll work
you
through
know,
it.
because I think this is one where normally we say you can just pick up and you can listen,
Yeah.
which you can, but I think going back and doing some work, some self-analyzation, kind of figure out like where do you struggle might be helpful.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we do not read the entire book. We just pick and choose some of the things that we can take and put into our lives and our teams and help us grow. So chapter 10, it's called The Intentional Life.
Yes.
Just the title alone of this chapter, I think, will tell you a little bit about where we're headed. So intentional means you're going to have to put the effort in. No one else is going to do it for you. So time spent being intentional will bring results, and time spent not being intentional will bring you the same thing, nothing. So
Yeah. I like it says living an intentional life includes consistent monitoring and assessment.
and I just said that's keeping it out of the
love
ball.
that.
So basically, you need to be assessing your life and monitoring your life consistently, because that's how you know if you're winning or you're losing. If you don't, then you're just existing.
Well, I think that is a mistake that a lot of people make early on in their leadership. And I think I can say I did it, but I was really good about planning my day, planning my time. Even when we talked about, doing the 30, 60, 90 and all of those things, all of those are wonderful things. But if you don't ever go back and say,
Yeah.
like, how is this working?
Yeah.
I could be planning, am I meeting the goals that I set out to meet? Whether maybe it's being intentional with your family, so you could do all this other stuff, but if you're not, you might be missing the ball. You've
Yeah.
got to go back and revisit.
And that's what he's saying. Yeah, exactly. Monitor and assess.
Yep,
So
love
that's
that.
good. He talks about some tools for life as far as the intentional life, being intentional, some tools that we should have and we all have access to. If you have a smartphone, if you have a freaking laptop, iPad,
Or a piece of paper.
yeah, or you can go to Target and get one of these, but it's called a calendar. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's called a calendar.
Yeah.
So Adina, what do you use?
Well, I use a paper calendar, and I also use
Digital?
my digital, but they serve 2 different kind of purposes for me. So, I think that this is one of those things that you can always get a calendar, but for even a long time, for years, I just used like a notebook and I would just write it out. I mean, it was just, because I just had to have something written down that I could go back and I could reference and I could look at. So I think that I mean, it's an easy thing. Get a calendar.
Yeah, and again, if it's digital, just click on the day, and if it's 2 months away and you have an appointment,
Okay.
go on there and get consistent.
Let me tell you
go
what I
ahead.
just did. I just connected my Alexa to my calendar. So now every morning I say, Alexa, what's on my calendar today? And she reads me what I have on my calendar. Game changer.
Interesting. Really?
Yes, it's amazing.
I just say, hey Siri, what do I have going on
Yeah.
today?
Yes. Well, you know.
Hopefully she doesn't say that because it's recording. But no, yeah, I think if you don't use your calendar, use it. Learn how to use it. Schedule things on there. And one of the things I think most of us all do is 30, 60, 90, which 90 days out, go
What's
backwards and what's going on in the 60-day window, what's going on in the 30-day window, and that's when it comes in handy.
And I love that in this, you know, you ask, like, do you schedule rest? And that is something, like, I don't put rest in my schedule, but mentally, I know that I leave, like, my day off, and one of my days off is Friday.
Yeah.
And so I leave that day off. I do not plan anything that does not give me life and joy on that day, 90% of the time. Because
Yeah.
that's my day, you know, and so I do all the fun things I want to do, all my self-care things.
Yeah, so on a calendar, you should see a day every week that is just blank.
Right.
So, tools for life, a calendar. He talks about life cadence, meaning like a rhythm of life, and he talks about 3 rhythms: daily, weekly, and seasonal. And then he says season for life, but daily, he just says, you know, try to measure how many days are you spending away from your family, how many days are you spending away from the people that you love. the
Yeah, well,
most.
and I think that, you know, for him it was in ministry, and I think that's really important. But I think everybody's going to have a different daily routine. You know, it may, like, if you and your spouse work 40 hours a week, you may be home every night. It might be a different, you know, routine that you want. How many nights a week do you intentionally spend time with your kids?
Mhm.
You know, how do you date your wife? Do you date your kids? Like, I think those are some things that might be important on a daily, weekly, you know, basis to see where your time goes.
But if you don't have the conversation with your wife or your kids, or you don't know what's going on, then there's probably an issue with too much time away, and you need to spend some time.
Right. Well, and I love that he talks about seasonal, because, like, in my life, we have, like, certain seasons of our life are way busier, and Darren is gone
Mhm.
all the time, you know, and we just know that.
Yeah.
And it's something we've accepted, but we have to be intentional on those other days.
Mhm.
Like, he'll say, like, so-and-so wants me to go have dinner, and we, like, weigh it out, you know, and it's not about, like, a permission, or I don't believe in all of that.
Yeah.
But we weigh it out. Well, I'm gonna be gone this night, and you're gonna be gone this night, and then, so now we've had 5 nights and you haven't seen me or the kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, and he's like, okay, you know,
Yeah, it's probably not best for us to be
Right.
out. That's good. And like you said, he's talking about ministry, but in business, you gotta weigh that out. Your week's gonna look different from your spouse. It's gonna look different than someone else. But make sure you're at least talking about it and you're putting it on the calendar to go, oh, yes, this is a night that I want to go out. This is a night that I want to rest. He talks about energy, saving pockets of energy for your family and yourself, and that's a must.
I
Most
love
people
that.
do not save pockets of energy for themselves. They just expend.
Which,
and
that's
they
how
don't
you
invest.
get burned out.
That's why it's called leading on empty.
Yes, is when you don't save the energy for yourself and your family,
Yeah.
or
So-
the things that people that are important to you.
Yeah, so daily, how long are you away from your family? Weekly, I just simply put, take the freaking day off. Take a day off at least once a week. Fill it with some things that you enjoy, and then fill you up.
Gosh, and I'm gonna say, I think for some people that may sound really overwhelming, you know, with all that they have going on.
Yeah.
If you are not at the point where you can take a day off, then at least put something on your account. Start with 4 hours. Start with
Yeah.
half a day. Start with one evening. But you have to put something on your calendar and write it on there. Write
Plan
on
it.
your calendar, put it in highlighter, plan it, where you can also go back, like he said, monitor and assess. You can go back and you can see, I have been doing that, and kind of gauge the reward from it.
Yeah, and try again. Like Dina said, these are practical steps that we're giving you right now. It may seem like a lot of information, but remember, we're trying to take care of ourselves so that you don't play on empty. And then seasonal, like we said earlier, be intentional about family time. Like celebrate birthdays, spend some sweet intentional time in your close relationships, not just with your family. Like, hey, who are my homies? Who do I hang out with? Playing hunting, fishing, outdoor cookouts. I don't know if you guys do that, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think in
put
our
them on the
lives,
calendar.
I know everybody in this room knows this, but we do family dinner every Sunday night, and that is like it is happening 50 weeks out of the year. I mean, there
Why
are
not
a few.
52?
Well, because there are sometimes, like we were in Arizona one week. I mean, there are things that happen, but I mean, like every Sunday night, we protect that time.
But you say family dinner, and there's like 30
Okay.
people at your
Like
house.
I'm
Okay,
there.
there was like
There was a lot of people.
there was a lot.
I
of
was
people
asked
there,
today, just a while ago. I was eating lunch or eating.
and they're like, "How come
They're
you
like,
don't
"Hey,
have the
why
family
weren't you
dinner?"
I'm like, hey, I'm not a part of that family, but
You are
I'm glad
too.
you're there.
Anybody can come. I
Um,
cannot believe you just said you're not a part. I invite you every single week.
moving on.
I don't know that.
Maybe you should invite my wife.
I'll text you.
Yeah.
I invited someone
And,
for
well,
work
and we do
today.
Friday night girls' night too.
I'm not going to that. So tell me, but pausing on that. So if someone is feeling alone and maybe their family is like they're energetic, they're real extrovert. Yeah, no, Darren's not an extrovert, but like you're trying to build community. I mean, well, tell them what you do. I mean, just say what family dinner is.
Well, for
It's not
us,
just your family.
it's not just our family. We invite, anybody over that's in our life, like anybody that we have a connection with. It's just always, it's like we always have an open invitation. So if we know Sunday night, and one of the things that's an unwritten rule is anybody can bring anybody, and so if Etiana is somewhere and she wants to invite somebody from work to family dinner, go ahead.
I
Like,
did that
it's an
today.
unwritten rule, everybody
She just
can come.
invited my wife.
Yeah, because that, I think for us, that's how we build community. That's part of our mission. And one of my
That's who
values.
you are.
That's who I am. And so, unfortunately, my husband is the same way. He supports that, and but I think for us, it's one of those things, and
So it's on your calendar because everybody knows, and it's something that you.
we prepare for it. We
Yeah,
plan for
but
it.
that's who you are. That's part of who you are. So
Yes,
again,
it's my yes.
plan that. He
Yep.
talks about a personal retreat day, which
Yeah.
I hate. I know I'm gonna get flack from someone about this, but I hate the word self-care. I'd rather call it personal development. But it's a personal development day, self-care day, and I put, you need to plan it, you need to put it on the calendar, have a plan for that day, like what is this day going to look like, when is that day going to happen, what are you going to learn, where is it going to be, what is it going to consist of, what are you going to learn, and maybe it's just a day of sleeping. Honestly, some people need to go, I need to rest. Okay, then rest. Plan it though. What is going through your head?
Well, no, I was just thinking like that.
It doesn't have to be
No,
rigid.
No, it doesn't. But I think that it is a day that I love that he has a plan 100%. But I think part of the personal retreat day is not really having a schedule.
Yeah.
I
see
think
what
it
you're
kind of is going, if you want to sleep late, if that's how it's set up, sleep late that morning, get up, have the breakfast that you want, and what he's saying here, what I love is that he's saying prepare for it, bring things
Yep.
that you want to read. Like,
Schedule.
one of the things he talked about is he likes to read about like motorcycles or something random to me.
Yeah.
But he brought like his leadership books, and then he brought something he wanted to like learn and read about. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a balance of both.
What would you do?
Me, I love to be at home and I love to be outdoors, and so I love to like journal. I'm a big like let's go back and assess like how have these things been going. What do I want to do next? It's kind of just a check-in day for myself. That's how I use like a personal self-care day. And for me, I think because my schedule is a little more balanced, I don't need a full day. I can
Yeah.
have about 3 hours of like uninterrupted, just on my own time,
Yeah.
and completely be fine with that.
Good. I play video games.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
That's-
Then I feel bad. So what about the people?
Well,
that
I
feel
think
bad
to
going,
me
I can't-
that's more of rest, not like a personal like retreat day where you're like, because his thing is like know where you are,
There's an
like where are you
intentional purpose
in,
behind
yes, where are you in your, he talks about like your marriage or family,
Yeah.
all of those areas.
Okay,
Don't
cool.
worry about
Just
that.
curious. All right, so he goes on to say, he talks all this to say you got to be intentional about your life and making sure that you're filling your cup because you don't want to leave on empty. And then he says there's a dashboard, like it's like an airplane that's the most difficult time of an airplane is when it's taking off. So all these things are happening when they're taking off and when they're landing. But when it's up in the air, it's just on autopilot. It's cruising. So what are those things that can get you? You got to pay attention to on the dial. And he talks about 12 areas. I narrowed it down to 7.
Yeah.
We can just we can roll through them. But like for me, number one, faith, life. So your dashboard, number one, faith, life, is if this is a part of your life, you need to pay attention to it.
Well, and
Where-
in the
where you
book,
at in your
he
faith?
does like A, B, C, and D. Like he gives them
Oh,
something
yeah.
like a letter grade.
Grade it.
Yeah, and
That's right.
I kind of I've never like thought of that, but I kind of like that you're saying like, you know what, I'm doing pretty good in this, but there's some room for improvement. Here's where I'm doing well. Here's where I need to grow.
Yeah, and the idea is, like you just said, if you're going to go through this, write out practical steps of what needs to get better, and if not, say, hey, I'm doing really well.
Well, and like so, the next one he talks about like marriage.
Number two, marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things with this is that I think for a long time I could easily evaluate our marriage, but I think then it's going to your spouse at the same time and asking them what they think. Mario's like, oh gosh, why is she doing this?
Jamie
No.
just gave us an A plus. An A plus.
No, but I think it's
bet
important, you know, because what's
she
important
just
to
flipped
me,
off.
what's she did not. What's important to Jamie?
Yeah.
What's important to you? It's just different, you know.
No, yeah.
And I think it's easy for me to say everything's going great,
Yeah.
but you know, Darren, he may really want more time together
Mhm.
because that's his thing, you
And
know.
don't forget, like, it's not just marriage life. If you're single
Yeah.
here, like, who's in your community? Who's in
Yes.
your circle group that, if you are feeling alone, that's part of that again, relational life. So faith life, marriage life, number three.
Right. Yeah, family life, and that's where I think too. Like I think that for me, that's like my family, my friends, am I
Mhm.
dedicating my time? Am I adding value to those relationships? You know, am I being
Yeah.
intentional? You know, and this is one I can do really good for some of the people in my life, and some of the people I'm like, wow, I haven't texted them in 6 months. You
Yeah.
know,
And I think
And
of my
that's-
daughters. Like, am I
Yeah.
spending
enough
intentional
time.
time
Mhm.
with them?
Yeah.
So
Financial life, that was kind of one I feel like that is not something I would check in on every like month or you know every
with
season.
Darren,
Yeah, no.
my wife would. I think.
But
I
we,
think we
like-
would do that, right? Kind of talk about finances.
Yeah.
Or that'd be on our gauge of, hey, where
Yeah,
are we
where
at?
are we at? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great. I just know, like for us, we have such a rhythm
Yeah.
that we assess it more whenever we want to like make a really big purchase or like
Mhm.
something happens, and
Yeah.
we're like, okay, how do we want to handle this
Yeah.
financially?
So 1, 2, 3. We skipped over. He put office life, computer life, ministry life. That
Yeah.
again, you can. But
Social
then,
life.
so financial life and then social life. Not so much your circle, but are you getting out? Are you engaged in
Yeah.
life? Or are you just being a homebody? I know you can be a homebody, but
I like to be a homebody.
yeah. What time did you get home yesterday?
But I don't know.
It was raining here,
2:45.
and you
Because I
said,
went to
"I'm going
HEB
home,"
and then I went to
putting
Tractor
the fire
Supply.
on,
I
putting my
did.
pajamas on.
Yes,
and
I
just
did.
Relaxing. So
I sure did.
anyway, social
Had a
life.
great time with my fire.
Grade your social life. Number 6. Is this
Attitude
a word?
life. Yeah, it's how's your attitude?
Yeah, attitude life.
Yeah.
Is graded. Like,
Yeah.
where are you at on that? And then the last one is physical life, as far as, fitness or where you're at health wise and
Yeah.
eating. And
Well, yeah,
it
and
just
I think that is like, are you making yourself a priority?
Mhm.
You know, it may look different for every person.
what's going on over there?
I'm sorry, I went in my joke.
Okay. Shh.
You ever been in a
Focus,
meeting?
focus,
Ever been in a meeting and
focus,
someone's
focus.
trying to open like a granola bar?
Yeah,
Bang, bang,
usually that's
Bang
me.
bang, everybody's already, John tries to open a granola bar underneath the table, and I'm like, bro, that doesn't
Just
make
so
it any
bad.
quieter.
Yeah.
So,
it just-
anyways,
You just can't
guys,
see it.
this list of the dashboard, so faith life, marriage life, family life, financial life, social life, attitude life, and physical life, it's not going to work at all if you are not being honest with yourself. Like, just give yourself a grade and be honest with yourself so you can at least know what action steps you need to take. And the reason we just went over all that is because if you're honest with yourself, you learn where the cup is empty and you go, I cannot lead on empty anymore. I got to fill that part of my life up.
Well, and I'm also going to say is I think, you know, he gives 12 areas. We just talked about 7. But in that, if you have, you know, say you have 3 that you're like, I'm rocking this, and then your other, you know, 4, 5, 6, you're like, that's kind of in the trash right now. Don't feel overwhelmed. Pick
One at a time.
and just work on it one at a time. That's
Right.
always what we say.
Yeah, so that was chapter 10.
Mhm.
Last chapter of the book, finding,
Solitude and sabbaticals.
there you go. He says this, he says, we have learned to rest when work is done. But the fact of the matter is that the work will never be done. There will always be more to do. And I think that's vital to our thought process because we need to learn that, man, work is never going to go away. Never going to go away. I believe, I was going to look up the meme that Angela, one of our friends, I'm not going to say her last name, but she recently posted. I just realized that she said, the meme said, I just realized that I've been working on the kitchen. I've been cleaning dishes, mopping the floor, sweeping the floor, all these things. She goes, and guess what? It's never going to be done. That's just life in the kitchen. And that's going to be work. That's work. It's never going to go anywhere. It's always going to be there. So I think if we don't learn to rest, you're going to have a hard time going, when am I going to reach that pinnacle point where work is going to be done? It's never going to be done.
Nope.
So you got to change your mindset to go, I have to put rest on the calendar, and I need to put rest and some solitude. So just like that, just like we can add up and come up with every excuse not to grow, we can come up with every excuse not to take a break or take time off. And I just said, you just got to take the freaking day off. Take a day off.
Yeah, just do it.
Because in the end, the people around you are going to suffer more, and you have control of that. We have to remember also that the hunger for whatever we are passionate about is renewable. Like, it's able to be renewable. But if we don't ever take a break, then we will deplete ourselves, and we'll be unhappy, we'll be angry, and everyone else around us will know that we're unhappy and we're the angry person. But you have to refill your tank, and it's renewable, but the only way it's renewable is by taking a break.
Okay, so I want to ask something because a minute ago, you said just take the dang day off, and then here you're like, just a day off. So why do you think that we, like, as society, why do you think we have such a hard time just taking a day off? Because he has said that numerous times. Take a day off, schedule rest. Why do we struggle with that?
I think because we're all not so much performance based, but we want to finish something and we want to complete something, I guess. I mean, maybe I'm speaking to myself, but I don't mind taking the day off. I just see that people feel bad by taking the day off because other people are at work. Yeah. You own the freaking PTO though. You put the time in to earn this PTO, take it off. Yeah. Because in the end, if you're so worried about what other people are going to think, they're going to see you crash and burn, and they're going to go, they had days off, why did they take it?
Well, because he says, like, we've learned to rest when the work is done, and like it's never done, and so that's what I'm like. Is it there's something like tied to that we feel like I have to like get somewhere and then I get to take a day off. We have to get this, or like for me, I know where I always struggled was I will take a day off, but not for me, because I'll take it off so I can go to something at my kids' school, so I can stay home sick with them, so I can, but it's always about someone else taking a day off. It feels weird just saying, I'm just going to take the day off for me. I can't imagine, but you should do that.
That's foreign, but some of the most successful people, what do they do?
For sure.
They take care of themselves so they can take care of other people.
Right.
And you can't take care of your kids if you're not taking the medication yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, I'm good. No,
yes,
you're not.
It's like the oxygen mask on the airplane. But I think my whole attitude in life would feel different if I didn't have Fridays off while my kids were at school.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a game changer.
And I think we talk about it later is that if you're working 40 hours a week and they give you 2 days off, man, and use those how you need to. But if you can get an extra day off, or if you can plan a day off when your kids aren't there, you got to do that. And I just talked about hunger, like hunger's renewable. He talked about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan retired from basketball and he went and played baseball, and he sucked at it.
Well, and I didn't realize. I mean, I remember when that happened, but I didn't realize that's what he was doing.
Yeah,
like he just wanted to
told
do it for
people,
fun.
but he's like, hey, I want to play baseball. But then when he was out in the outfield and he was sucking it up for however many years, he's like, I think I want to go back and play basketball. But he kept himself in shape. And this is what he said: is when you take a break, if you need to take an extended break from your work, you got to keep growing. You got to make sure you're developing yourself, because if you ever get called back into the game, which Michael Jordan did, and he won 3 straight championships, he just needed a break. His hunger was still there. So I thought a lot about this in my personal life, but that's not called hunger, and I don't think it's hunger anymore. It's just it's a new season. So
yeah, I like that. It's a new season.
Yeah,
it's good.
I don't know why I felt like I had to say that, but I know I needed to. So when I read it, I was like, that's not talking to me. The spirit is not talking there.
Shut it down.
Yeah. So he's talking about finding solitude and sabbaticals. So he talks about leadership energy here. Listen to this quote: a leader's role is not to maintain. So if you're a leader in your company, a leader in your organization, wherever your life, a leader's role is not to maintain, it is to gain altitude. Leaders need to recognize the growth areas of ministry or work and give upward mobility in those areas. A leader needs to give the company, ministry, whatever you want to call it, the vertical lift it requires to improve and advance. So if you're depleted and you're a leader who hasn't taken a break, and you're a leader who run to their people into the ground, you're probably not elevating your company or your business or your whatever to the highest level because you're depleted, your people are depleted, and you expect them to do the best of their ability, but they can't because we all need rest. So take your freaking day off.
Take your day off. Yeah.
And he says it right there. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good. You got a leader is there to take things to the next level.
Gosh, what about a leader, as a leader, if the leader themselves sees the value in like, oh, I need to rest, I need to take we'll say a sabbatical, like your leader's taking a sabbatical, like, we're gonna take off however long. But you don't give that same, like courtesy, I don't know if that's the right word, or that expectation for like your staff or like the people that you lead, because that's something I think could be like, if you value time and it may be something you feel like is important for you, but you don't value that for your staff or for your other people.
That's a good question.
And I think it's one of those things that we're talking about you, and you've said it several times, which is what made me think, like, you have to think about other people in this. And even if you are not the kind of person that is if you're not at the place where you're like, I need to take off once a month and have a personal care day, that's okay. If you don't want to go play golf once a month or go hunting or go fishing or go do whatever it is that you love, great. But there are people on your team that will drastically change their lives if you can help them build this in.
So I think for me, the answer is that's the difference between a good team and a great team. A great team, they all trust each other and they go, I value growth and I need you to take these days off. I'm telling you, these are your days that I'm giving you.
Yeah, hit the road, Jack.
Go.
Yeah.
And some people may go no. And what's funny is you asked this, I said, why don't we take the time off? Expectation of others.
Well, and as a boss saying like, I don't expect you to be at work every single day. I expect you to take time off and to take care of yourself. That we're switching up the roles.
Translation meaning when you do show up to work, you're going to give 100% because I'm giving you the time that you need to grow. So when you show up, show up. So he does come up with a few. Why don't people take off the time that they need? Expectation of others. So if you allow others to drive your decisions, they're going to own you. Number 2, finances. They said this. I would think this is number 1.
This is what I think would be number 1.
Lack of planning can sink you as far as finances, and they can go, hey, I need to work.
I think it may not even be like under the finance part, but I think that how many times I've heard somebody say, it's easier for me to just come to work than to do everything that it takes, like all the planning that it takes for me to like miss a day or two,
Yeah,
and
I think that's crazy.
I think I had thought about that until that was like, yeah, but people say that all it's just easier to come to work.
That's to me, that's ego, because you think they're important.
Well, I think it's probably the task.
I got you.
More, like your
but that means it's all about you. You're not willing to train someone
100%
to do it.
Who will lead when I'm gone? That's the next.
That's the next one. Yeah. Who are you investing in? And is it all about you? Because if you're too worried about who's going to lead it when you're gone, let me tell you, if you passed away right now, life's going to go on. It's going to go on. Unfortunately, that's hard to say, but things are going to go on.
And what's going to be affected the most is that top 5% that we talked about in the
previous chapters.
Yeah, the previous chapters. I think it was the episode 66 or whatever.
Yeah. That either way, that if you don't, if you're not investing in that top 5%, those people are going to be most affected, which is your family, your loved ones, and they're going to go, man, I wish he would have invested more time in us, or she. So he gives a self-assessment to kind of
to go back and like evaluate where you are, monitor and assess, as he said earlier.
And he number 1 says, what was my original calling? That's basically your why.
Your why.
Number 2.
What activities am I involved with that I love?
Number 3, what activities and people have been draining my tank?
That is a great question, and I don't think people ask that question enough in their lives.
Yeah, I think they're afraid to be honest. Number 4.
If I retired today with several $1 million and no debt, what would I do?
What would you do?
Open a funeral home in a freaking heartbeat.
That was your prayer request this week.
I know, I'm serious. It keeps coming up. I'm serious.
Jamie still hasn't sent a prayer request. So.
Well, let me just take a side note. I want to do a funeral planning service for people that lose people in a high stress situation. lost too soon, children,
Okay.
spouses, siblings.
Yeah, you brought this up on Monday, and I was
I-
curious
I'm
as to
telling
what
you.
you were thinking.
Since I was in high school, it's what I wanted to do.
Wow, that's crazy.
No,
Man.
I'd be really good at it.
Okay.
You are.
Yeah.
She's an
Good
event
bride.
planner for funerals.
That's what I want to do.
Event
I want
planner
to
for
walk
funerals.
people through that, their
That's-
hardest time
that's
of
awesome.
their life. Because I think what happens, I will stop in 1 second, but I think what happens is when you're so in the moment, and I think how much better like your grief could be, like in the sense of like, if you could have somebody really help you untangle that and plan
It's
like
an
the
elevated
event. Yeah, for like, I think we have a friend that their child died, and I
Mhm.
think if somebody could walk through, and we planned some great things for her, but in that, I mean, like all that meant so much to her. And if we could have tailored that more
Mhm.
towards her life and what she wanted, and not everybody has those people in their lives that can help them do that,
Yeah. Wow.
And I want that to really truly be a celebration of life, not, like the end.
Yeah, so ask yourself,
I'm
if you
done.
retired today with several $1 million, no debt, what would you do? Cool. Number 5, what triggered my depletion? Make sure you know what is depleting you. Number 6,
What am I doing now that I cannot do anymore? Same thing. That's the same thing. Like, what is depleting you? What do I need to get
Yeah.
off of my plate?
Number 7, what are those things that I enjoy doing but cannot do to the level I am involved in now?
Yeah.
Meaning like if I play golf, there's no
Yeah, I
margin,
enjoy
right?
it.
Is that what he means? Like, here's the things that I want to fill me up, but I can't because I'm too busy. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. Well, like that. Like, I love playing golf, but right now I might need to scale back. I think about Darren and his fishing. There are certain times of the year where he goes fishing 7 nights a week. He loves
during
it.
COVID, he was all the time. And
Yeah.
then recently, when I don't see him fishing, he's like, man, I need to get
He
out there."
does. He needs to go.
Number 8, last one. Who do I need to share these findings with so that the rebuilding can begin? So that is the self-assessment test. That is the end of the book. So chapter 10, the intentional life. Be intentional about where you need to grow, and you can grade yourself on those dashboard dials. Chapter 11 was finding solitude and sabbaticals. Remember to keep your energy where it needs to be, and ask yourself these questions on this assessment, and we will make sure they are in
In the notes.
the notes.
Yeah.
Action steps. Use your calendar, please.
Yeah.
It's digital or not, just use it.
Well, and use
Some-
it well.
Google gives you a free one.
I mean, like,
Your
schedule
phone.
your rest. I mean, like, use it well. Like, don't just put the things, and this is what I'm totally guilty of, is just putting in the things that I have to do that drain me.
no.
Like, put everything in it.
Yeah. I do mine every Sunday after church.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
We come home and
Yeah,
Everybody's
you
quiet.
Yeah.
I just start.
I used to do
writing
mine on
things out.
Sunday nights. Yeah.
So
I think
there you
it's
go.
great.
That's action step number 1. Just use a freaking calendar. Number 2, take the dashboard test, and that'll be in there. It's talking about being honest with yourself and grading those areas of your life.
Well, yeah, and I love that he gives you examples for that,
Mhm.
but I also think, like, what's important to you? Like, maybe there's one in there that he doesn't have. What's important to you? And grade yourself on the things that are truly important to you.
Number 3, last action step, take the self-assessment test and make action steps to get to a better place. We just went over those questions. They'll be in the action steps.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
in the notes, yeah. Guys, that's the book. I think you need to get it because this book is something that you can maybe read once a year, or at the beginning of every year, or at the end of every year, so you can know what you're going to be getting into. I didn't plan on reading it twice this year, and hopefully I don't have to read it again
Well, I think it's a really good book
in a good way.
because it has so many different, like, hands-on practical steps. So if you're, I know, don't talk about my book. But if you,
It's missing
but
that.
you can go. See, if you're on YouTube, you can see it. That's because my dog ate it.
Wow.
But it gives you so many practical steps to make sure, like, monitor and assess. You can go back and say, these are all the things I learned. What am I still doing? And help yourself remember kind of where you.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, where you've been, how far you've
It's a
come.
good book. Wayne Cordero, thank you for writing
Yes,
that book.
I would give my book away because I feel like if you need it, I'll be happy to give it away. But it is half eaten. But still, if somebody wants it,
Hey, info@madeformoreconsulting.com.
I'll give you my
Email
book.
us if you want the book. She'll sign it.
I probably actually already did because I wrote my name on my book.
Nice.
Yeah. See? There you
Yeah,
go.
next week,
Done.
episode 70, we're gonna have a guest and a friend. Well, it's a guest and She's a friend and a guest.
Yes, she's both.
Well,
You
she's
said
a
it.
friend guest.
She's a
I
guest.
didn't want them,
I didn't get-
I didn't want,
I mean,
I didn't want them
my-
to think that it was two people. She's a
Oh.
friend and she's a guest
Yeah.
on the show, right? Or this show on the podcast. What the heck? Anyways, Etienne, you want to talk to us about merch?
Yeah.
She's
So,
ready this week.
I was ready this week. Which way? This way?
Nope.
How come
There
there
you
has to be a better way to do this every week, guys? What are we talking? Merch. Okay, so if you want to buy your own merch, you can get it straight from madeformoreconsulting.com. And that's basically, oh yeah, it's the number 4. Thank you, Mario. It's just such a really great way to support the community, to share the message of why we exist. But if I'm being straight up, I want you guys to buy out the merch so that I can put new cool stuff in there. I want to put a sweatshirt out there, a new t-shirt, we got stickers. But I can't do that until you guys buy out the rest of the merch we have right now. So, can you do that, please?
Maybe we'll put a sellout. I don't know.
Yeah, sell out. Hey guys, let's do okay, we're gonna do a sale. I'm just saying it right now. And we're gonna buy out merch so that I can give you new merch and you can have cool stuff to represent the community. And then on top of that, we always say follow us on social media. That's at Made for More Consulting. That's the number 4. And that's just a great way to, again, get connected with other people who are a part of this team and this community, and to connect with us so that we can answer any questions. We can come talk to you individually, talk to your teams, talk to your bosses, all that cool stuff.
I like talk to your bosses.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, yeah, we'll talk to your bosses, absolutely.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
so follow us on social media. Let's
Yes,
be
and
friends.
give us a 5-star rating
Oh,
if you're on Apple
Please give us a
Podcasts.
5-star rating. We do such a great job. This is hard work.
Yeah,
And we do
do
it because
it.
we love y'all.
And you
so.
just click it and you just scroll down, it's just right there.
Exactly.
You can do it. If
Yeah,
I can do
super
it,
easy.
you can do it.
Have you done
I
it?
can't now. I haven't given us one, but I will. I just figured it out in another podcast.
All right now, guys, just go ahead and give us a 5-star review.
Thank you, Etienne.
Mhm.
She does a great job with that. Seriously. Yeah, like Adina said, just scroll down, give us a 5-star review. It was cool to see that Adina did that for someone else and not us, but it's all good.
We're not salty.
Yeah. Guys, I
Because
appreciate
she
you guys
asked
listening.
for it.
Yeah, I appreciate the support, but I know our team even appreciates it more because it's so cool to see the Made for More community growing, and we got some amazing things coming in the next few months, and we're excited. Next week, again, one of our friends is going to be on, and if you want Adina's book, again,
Yeah, let us know.
info at
I'll give it to you.
madeformoreconsulting.com. That's the number 4. And as we always say every week, and what we stand for is remember you exist for more. You're here to offer more. Don't ever give up. Every single one of us is made for more.
Yeah.
Later.
Bye. Look, I'm trying right
Yeah.
now, YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, you too.
I'm trying right now to figure out how to
Let me
leave us
Let me
a
see.
review.
You want to say bye to YouTube?
Bye.
Bye, YouTube.
See ya.